Hey guys, today is a special video. We are driving the new 911 Dakar. This is the lifted rally off-road version of the 911. It's based on a Carrera 4 GTS and it starts at $223,000. This one has a couple options. It's 230 grand. It has the same 3-liter twin-turbo boxer 6-cylinder as the Carrera 4 GTS, so it makes 473 horsepower, 420 pound-feet of torque. That engine is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, or a PDK transmission, dual clutch. We have a very nice interior. We have the carbon bucket seats, which are standard in this. You can opt for the 18-way sport seats for $0 if that's your thing. It probably would be my thing because these seem a little bit better suited in a track car for daily driving, which is what this Dakar is best at. I think a more comfortable seat would probably suit this a little bit better. Let's walk you guys around this. We'll talk about what it's been like to live with this week a little bit. I've spent pretty minimal time in this. This is kind of crunch time this week. We've got a whole lot going on. Tedward's in town. My wife is about due with our second son. So I haven't spent as much time in this as I usually do. So we'll give you guys some first impressions in this video, take it for a drive, and let you guys know what the driving experience is like. We get a few different drive modes here. Normal, sport, rally, and off-road. And off-road will raise the vehicle with the hydraulic lift system. And you'll see just how much ground clearance this has. It goes from 6.3 inches of ground clearance to 7.5 inches of ground clearance, which is about what you usually get out of your regular sized crossover. You can see we have enormous Pirelli Scorpion off-road tires on this. They look like rally tires. About 30 inches tall in the rear. They've squeezed as much tire in here as humanly possible, and I think it looks fantastic. No carbon ceramic brakes, steel. That would be not a very good recipe off-road. Decent approach, breakover, and departure angles, but again, you're not really going to be doing any rock crawling in this car. This is mostly for dirt road, high speed, rallying, maybe take this out to the sand dunes, have some fun, rip around in situations that you normally wouldn't be able to take your 911 in. And I'm sure it does an amazing job. This Dakar that we're driving today is painted in shade green metallic. Very cool color. You can add roof racks, you can add light bars, you can add all sorts of stuff to these. This is pretty much a stripper spec, which I kind of like. It's very simple. Got a nice recovery hook up at the front here and at the rear. Like the spoiler. Very flat bottom to this car. And everything else in the interior is pure 911. We get these very nice rubber floor mats, which will keep all the dirt and stuff out of the rest of the interior. Strangely, a rear seat delete. Porsche did take quite a bit of weight out of this car to make it around 3,500 pounds. It's not really that much heavier than the regular Carrera 4. So that's nice to see, though it would be cool to get some rear seats in this. Take the whole family out for some off-road hoons. All right, well, you guys have mostly seen this car in many, many videos. I am one of the last people to drive this Dakar, so let's get on with it here. We'll show you the front trunk. Plenty of space in there. That's cool to see. Carbon fiber. Very lightweight. The hydraulic lift system in this is really interesting. It's pretty loud inside the car. So we're in high mode right now, and you can see that represented here with this button. We lower it, and you'll feel everything drop down. I love the simplicity of this interior. Got a button here to open up the exhaust, turn traction control off, and we can stiffen up our dampers with PDCC right there. Not the biggest fan of this little beard trimmer shifter, or whatever you want to call it. I would like to shift gears while I'm all crossed up in the sand dunes, down here. I think that would be nice if they integrated a GT3 style shifter or just brought back a lever to the 911. You can lock this out in manual mode. You've got pedal shifters behind the wheel. Porsche gives you 20 seconds of sport response mode if you push this button in right there. We'll start off in normal and kind of ramp things up from there. There's your 360 camera. That's nice to have. If you are doing any rock crawling, you do have a camera system to help you with that. We get wireless Apple CarPlay. This new Porsche infotainment is quite nice. It's well laid out. It's responsive. It's pretty simple to use. Removable cup holder. Some gloss black here, which has already seen a little bit of scratching and dust. Place to put your phone right there. For some reason, this press car came with a York peppermint patty. It's probably not an option in the Porsche configurator, but we'll just pass it on to the next guy. All right, let's go for a drive. Unfortunately, Porsche has given us explicit instructions not to take this off-road this week. A bunch of different journalists are trying to get into this Dakar this month while it's here in Detroit, so that's probably a good thing, because if it was allowed to go off-road, I'm sure we wouldn't have gotten it in the timely manner that we did. Car and driver probably would have broken it in half or something, who knows, off of a sand dune. So this is going to be a street drive. We'll talk about its road manners. You guys have seen plenty of off-road 911 Dakar videos out there, and maybe at another point in the future we'll get a chance to take one of these off-road, but I'm sure it is fantastic. So what do we need to know initially here? Brake pedal feel is excellent. This drives just like a regular 911, but there's a soft edge to it. It kind of takes off that immediacy, that responsiveness that you're used to with a car like this. You can feel the thicker sidewalls in this Dakar, but still, there is an impressive amount of grip here. They've done a good job calibrating the suspension and everything to this tire. You are limited to around 150 miles per hour. And for an all-terrain tire, I'm going to say that's actually pretty good. Let's put us into sport mode here. This 3-liter sounds fantastic. Rally mode now, so suspension is softer. It boogies. Yeah, it is properly quick and has a surprising amount of mechanical grip. I would argue that you might not need much more mechanical grip than that on the street. That's amazing. Immediately, my brain is telling me this is the best daily drivable 911 yet. The only thing that I'm really struggling with on this Dakar, it would be nice to get some rear seats, which I'm sure you can maybe negotiate at the dealer or with Porsche. I don't know 100%. And the price is just so high. This is very close to a GT3 RS in terms of sticker price. And, okay, you're getting a bespoke limited edition 911 with capabilities that 911s have never had before from the factory. But it just seems a little bit excessive in terms of price point. But, you know, Porsche knows they'll sell them, and Porsche knows that they'll get that money for it. So, I guess I can't blame them. All right, let's go into sport mode. We're going to turn on PDCC, and we're going to leave this in its standard ride height setting. I have noticed that when you do lift this up with a hydraulic system, the suspension does stiffen up substantially. We'll lock this into manual mode too. The PDK is responsive. It's fantastic. It's just one of the best transmissions. Really progressive limits here with these all-terrains. It's fun. It's super fun to drive. This is a formula that I hope continues on with the 911, albeit at a lower price point, and maybe in some other models. As many of you know, I just sold it yesterday actually, I owned a lifted Safari'd BRZ. Had about 7 inches of ground clearance, set of all-terrain tires. It was the most fun I've had in a sports car off-road. It was just incredible. This formula allows you to kind of drive around town on a daily basis with a whole lot less stress than you normally would have in a car like this. You don't have to worry about speed bumps. You don't have to worry about driveways. You don't have to worry about potholes or curbs. You can just kind of charge at everything in this car. It's a wholly freeing experience. I'm gonna let this bug out of the cabin here. Be free, fly away. All right, let's go to off-road mode. Lift the suspension up, see what happens. Vehicle's raised up, you can feel it. And you could drive around up to 105 miles an hour with the vehicle lifted up, which is pretty cool. After 105 miles an hour, it'll automatically lower, allegedly. So overall, driving the 911 Dakar, it's comfortable, it's fun, it has amazing mechanical grip for the street, despite it having a set of chunky all-terrain tires. It sounds good. I honestly haven't spent a lot of time in the Carrera S or the Carrera GTS, and this is a really fun powertrain combo. It's fantastic. I love the PDK. The all-wheel drive system gives you tons and tons of traction out of corners. You can option this with 4-wheel steer. The execution here is brilliant. I think it's all very well done. It settles down and gets pretty quiet in normal mode with the exhaust valve closed. The ride is reasonably soft for a 911. This is our bumpy road section here, and it feels pretty good. We're not bouncing around excessively. It feels like there's a bit more suspension travel here. Honestly, this drives about how I expect it to. It feels appropriate for how Porsche does things. Cornering is incredibly flat. Very little body roll around a corner. This just stays poised. Oops, we've taken a wrong turn. Got a little bit lost here. Let's see what this does over some bumps. We are in high mode right now. Yeah. Whoa, it is stiff. I will admit, my BRZ was quite a bit softer over potholes and whatnot. And it'll rally. cool thing about this 911 Dakar that I've seen so far, at least on social media, is it seems like people are using them for their intended purpose. They're taking them off-road. They're hooning them around a little bit. They're having some fun behind the wheel. And I think that's important. I think that's cool. It's kind of unexpected. This came out and I thought, oh, it's just going to be a pavement princess, garage queen. People are going to, buy these up and just keep them under wraps. But it seems like a lot of them are being thoroughly enjoyed and going on some adventures. And I think that's what this is all about. When you have a car like this, it expands your range of possibilities and ways that you can enjoy it and have fun with it. And I think Porsche has touched on something really special here. And in some ways, I believe this is kind of the future of the sports car. What with our crumbling infrastructure and terrible roads, this is the jam. It's the perfect 911 for Michigan, that's for sure. On the highway, it's pretty quiet. I'm even reasonably comfortable with these carbon bucket seats. Driving position is higher, so I can kind of see over stuff. This is rated for about 16 miles to the gallon in the city, 24 miles to the gallon on the highway. So you should get pretty good range out of this. It is to change drive settings in this. You can be in sport mode, turn off PDCC, turn off the exhaust. You can completely customize everything here. Just the perfect amount of slip out of a corner. Makes you feel like a hero. In rally mode, this has a launch control that allows for more wheel slip off-road. Let's see what it does on-road. Feels like launch control. Dakar is a wonderful thing. A lot of character too from this 3-liter twin-turbo boxer. I wish it revved a little bit higher, but it sounds good. It makes all the right noises. All right, let's tackle one more exit ramp here. In sport mode, we'll stiffen things up a little bit. what conclusions can we draw with the 911 Dakar? I think this treatment makes this a more fun car to drive on the street. I'm not worried about bumps, driveways, potholes, really much at all, honestly, for street driving. As you've seen from this video, gives you just a little bit more slip at the limit, which I think is enjoyable, but still the mechanical grip here is super impressive given the fact that this is all-terrain tires. We drove the Lamborghini Storado and it was a little bit more twitchy and didn't feel as planted on the road as this Dakar does. So that's a big difference right there. It's genuinely fun to drive. Overall, fantastic and hilarious car from Porsche. You can have a lot of fun with this, and I hope that it's not just limited to 2,500 units. I hope in the future Porsche carries this formula on into their models in the next generation, and we get to experience the 911 Dakar or something like it in the years to come. Porsche does give you a nice big slab of PPF here. That's probably a pretty high impact area for rocks. It's good to see. These door handles are kind of annoying still. Not a big fan of the 992 electronic door handles, but you do get used to them, and they tend to pop open when you need them most of the time. Let's go drive around just a little bit more. You guys know the deal, as it is tradition in these videos. I end the video and then I talk a bunch more afterwards. So consider this bonus footage. So, what conclusions can we draw on the 911 Dakar? On one hand, I love the philosophy of this car. I think it opens up new possibilities and experiences in the ownership. On the other hand, I think it's just a little bit too expensive for what it is. I would love for something like this to be a little bit more accessible, maybe not a limited edition. We'll probably see something like that in the next generation. I'm sure Porsche will catch on that, yes, this is a popular formula. Yes, this is something they need to keep building, and that they will improve on it in the future. I would like this to have a manual transmission. I would like this to have the option to be rear-wheel drive. I've got to say, it's still hard to beat my BRZ. With a handbrake, a 6-speed manual, rear-wheel drive, and a limited slip differential. That formula is so fun off-road, and I would argue that, except for maybe in the sand or in the snow, you don't really need all-wheel drive in a car like this to have the most amount of fun. Yes, all-wheel drive traction is great, but at the end of the day, this doesn't really have the ground clearance, the approach angles to truly do serious off-roading. And I would argue you could get through just about everything you needed to in rear-wheel drive, and it would be a little bit more fun and enjoyable on the dirt and gravel rally sections of road. That said, this is so fast, so capable, so well planted, and its road manners are incredible despite having these crazy all-terrain tires. So if you want a 911 that can kind of do it all, okay, maybe except for track work, I guess you could swap out the tires or wheels for something else. The 911 Dakar is your formula, is your option. It's just that for the price, it doesn't feel as special as something like a Turbo S or a GT3 or a GT3 RS. It just feels kind of formulaic and predictable and kind of exactly how I expected it to. I'm very glad that Porsche makes this because I think they're touching on something special here. This is kind of, in my opinion, the future of sports cars, or a future segment and genre of sports cars. It's a really, really fun formula. It opens up new possibilities for ownership and experiences. And at the end of the day, it's an awesome package. I just wish it offered just a little bit more craziness for the $250,000 price tag. I was expecting a bit more insanity, and this is just very, very good, but I don't know, maybe I wanted it to be a little more playful on the street, a little bit softer off-road. I think Porsche is off to a good start with this 911 Dakar. I'm excited to see how it changes in future generations, different iterations, and what Porsche does with this type of vehicle in the future.